Over the years, extraordinary men and women have contributed in important ways to making this country and the world a better place. Senator Henry M. Jackson was one of those people. He was regarded as a master statesman and a highly effective political leader. He shaped the course of history and was respected and followed by people on both sides of the aisle. He was revered across the state of Washington and the entire nation. More than 25 years after his death, he still inspires us. His life and his still vibrant legacy are worth remembering and celebrating.
Son of immigrant Norwegian parents, raised in the small town of Everett, Washington, graduated from law school in 1936, elected county prosecutor at age 26, elected to Congress at age 28. For the next 43 years, this man served his state and nation in Washington, D.C. He worked with 9 presidents. He wrote laws which changed this country, and he became a symbol of freedom to millions of people around the world. His name was Senator Henry M. Jackson, but everybody called him Scoop.
As you converse with people, you can't help but renew your faith in this country. And this is where I think our political leaders have an enormous responsibility. These people want to know. They are curious. They want to be told the facts, and they want someone who will level with them.
Scoop always had a lot of respect for everybody's point of view and wanted to understand in depth why a person brought that point of view to a particular subject. And then 2, Scoop, as the consummate legislator he was, knew he had to understand the views of contesting parties to bring them together and to put together the kind of compromise that democratic society requires.
Most people he worked with were persons who, one way or another, were engaged in conflict. And they sensed in him that Viking quality, that joy of battle, and the sense of honor he brought to it.
I suppose the answer is that history is more important than a current ideology, and the behavior pattern established over the centuries is a crucial factor.
History was something that Scoop was a great student of and had a great deal of respect for, because it really foretold the future, not just in terms of what was going to happen, but what was at stake in terms of the morality of man and the morality of nations and where the country was going. And as a result, this is the way his colleagues and those who worked with him, I think in part, remember him for the fact that he brought this kind of intellectual and moral depth to the positions that he took, and that he stood by them no matter how tough the going was.
On the great issues of our time, from protecting the environment at home to guaranteeing equality in our domestic life to sternness in dealing with totalitarian regimes, Scoop Jackson represented where Americans were, or when they weren't, where they knew in their heart of hearts they ought to be.
So over time, I think those who knew him well, whatever their position, whatever their particular attitude on these questions, grew to respect him because he was consistent, he was not wavering, he was not opportunistic, and you knew where Scoop was, and you knew he was there because of his belief and his values.
Scoop was a professional. By that I mean Scoop understood what you need to do to make government function effectively for people. And it's great to be idealistic, which he was. It's great to have ideas, which he had. But if you don't know how to make the gears of government mesh properly, you can't be effective on your ideals. Scoop knew that, and that's the reason he was so effective.
With Scoop, it was almost sort of a running joke on the campaign, is if you didn't grab your bag, he would not only carry his bag, but he'd carry your bag off. He'd say, "Come on, Ben, I got your bags, let's go." It was just the kind of man he was. Really expected no special preference for his really exalted status as one of the most, I mean, he was, in his time, one of the most important men in the world. And that kind of thing would go to the head of a lot of people. And with Scoop, it never did. And as I say, you had to be careful that he didn't grab your briefcase and your sling bag to carry it off the plane for you.
Above all, Jackson believed in the power of education. The Jackson School for International Studies is a continuing legacy to his vision.
The Henry M. Jackson Foundation is really a living legacy to the unfinished work of the senator. We're really proud to be able to continue his many achievements in Congress during the almost 43 years that he was there. We're working in 4 fields where he played a really prominent leadership role during his time in the Senate. That's international affairs education, human rights, where we work primarily in Russia, where he had such an interest and such an abiding commitment. In environment and natural resources management, which really is a reflection of his work as chairman of the Energy and Natural Resources Committee in Congress. And in a reflection of his years in Congress, we work in the public service field as well.